Your Steve Jones Show podcast is loading now. The Steve Jones Show podcast is sponsored by Sunbury Motors, North 4th Street in Sunbury, and Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf. Sports talk where your voice counts. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now from the Sunbury Motors studio, here's Steve Jones.
Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com. Ford, Lincoln, Kia, Hyundai. Great pre-owned inventory. Fabulous service department. All at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf. You know, I always like that when I literally get off the phone with Jack Ham, 90 seconds before the show opens. Then I pick up my phone, and there's an email that somebody wants to interview Jack and me together. And I thought, well, it would have been great if you could have sent me that a half hour ago when he called. Timing. It's all timing. Oh, my goodness. It wasn't Susquehanna Life magazine, so just so you know. Matt, when is the profile on the suit in Susquehanna Life magazine? Because, I mean, he is part of the critical fabric of Susquehanna Life, don't you think? Uh-oh, no answer. Oh, Matt. Here is your chance to, make the big guy look good. Okay. By the way, our roundtable discussion is today, bottom of the hour. And tomorrow, Reuben Frank of NBC Philadelphia will be on talking about the Eagles. I mean, again, all these Eagles interviews, by the way, are just trying to talk Matt off the ledge.
Although I have to say, Reuben Frank today had a follow-up column saying that it's time to give Jalen Hurts some more playing time, and I have to kind of disagree a little bit.
Playing time as a specialty player?
Whatever way you can get him on the field to help get some explosiveness out of the offense and give it some excitement, which I think you can to an extent. I just don't want to see Carson Wentz get fully taken off the field. Because if you want your quarterback to get back in the swing of things and knock whatever this is out of himself, you can't take him out of the game to knock out his rhythm. I've just never been a two-quarterback system guy. I didn't like it when the Eagles did it with McNabb and Vic. I just think you can't win in the NFL, sustain that at least, with two quarterbacks going in and out. You want to use him maybe on the goal line or in a random gadget play here and there. You want to throw the ball to him, if you want to put him in the backfield with Wentz and give him the ball or do a direct snap to him, something like that, that's fine. Just don't take Wentz off the field.
See, it's Thursday. You're still not over it yet. This whole thing about I turned the corner on Wednesday, that's a lie.
I need a win. I need a win. Do I think they're going to win on Sunday?
You need a win. Isn't doing this show every day a win for you?
Oh, of course. That goes without saying. This show is what keeps me off the ledge. So we have other good stuff to talk about, like Penn State coming back.
Great. Yeah. By the way, tonight on the Coaches Show is going to be Carolyn Keeger, the Lady Lion head basketball coach, and Joe Lorig will talk special teams this evening. So that means in consecutive weeks you've had the head football coach, James Franklin, then the defensive coordinator, Brent Pry, then the offensive coordinator, Kirk Shiraka, and this week the special teams coordinator, Joe Lorig. So if you put the four of them together, I think it gives you a pretty well-rounded thought process of what the coaches are thinking, because they've now made the transition. They have now gone from, you've heard me reference several times, quote, skill instruction, which is what that 12-hour-a-week deal was. That's what they referred to it as, was skill instruction. Starting yesterday, they started preseason practice. Okay? So they're into that now, into preseason practice officially. And let's see how it goes from there. As for the Eagles, they're going to their third game of the season. And as you can tell from what Matt's thinking, it's just not good. It's just not good.
I think they're going to win on Sunday. I'm just not fully confident in saying that quite yet. I'm surprised they're a 6.5-point favorite. I can tell you that.
Okay. Look at the helmet. Does the helmet have stripes on it at the top? I'm asking you.
No. That they're facing? Yes.
Yeah. You're a 6.5-point favorite. All right, so.
Luckily, they're not on our list of picks for tomorrow. I just got it from the King.
They should be on there, because I want to hear you whine, moan, and complain.
It's all right. We got lots of better games to choose from this week. Good slate, by the way, this week.
This week, by the way, marks the 20th anniversary of when Adam Taliaferro got hurt at Ohio State, if you can believe that. 20th anniversary. I remember, I don't know what year it was. It was in the 2000s, and I was speaking to a group, and someone said, "What is the greatest moment you've announced?" And, of course, I can't name one. There's always like 15 of them, so it's never a short answer. And what's the worst you ever announced? And this is like, this question was asked after Penn State had gone through the 4 losing seasons out of 5. So I said, well, as for the worst, and there were snickers in the crowd, and I said, no, I said, can you settle for 1 second? I said, just give me a chance here. I said, when Adam Taliaferro got hurt, and of course everything went silent, because I didn't want, you don't want to embarrass somebody who's like, because they're thinking about the losing seasons and things like that. Which, I understand that part, but like when it comes to the worst, that's an easy answer because it's just awful. When it happened, number one, you know how it was last month, of course, Dr. Sebastianelli, his name came up a couple of times. I can tell you in no uncertain terms that Wayne Sebastianelli saved Adam Taliaferro's life. He knew and figured out right away what the problem was and made sure nobody touched him, and he told him specifically, don't move. When everybody was gathered around, we knew it was bad, but of course we didn't quite know. And then we looked at the replay and we thought, okay, it's serious, but at this point you're only looking at replays, and we know how cautious medical personnel have become with injuries like these. So often, like, oh, thank goodness, it turns out they're all right. And I know BTN is doing a 1-hour feature on this because they got a hold of me. I don't know. I want to say they got a hold of me a couple months ago about this, maybe 3 months ago about this. And they said, do you remember what you talked about? And I said, and the producer's name is Scott. And I said, Scott, I'll be honest with you. I said, I've only heard it one time because we're on for 20 minutes straight at least, and it felt like 2 hours. And because you don't want to take a commercial break during this, because it's bad. Now, how bad, you're sitting there, you're guessing. You don't know how bad it is, but it's bad. And I said, I've only heard our comments one time because they did it because it was ABC or CBS, one of the two, on Thanksgiving Day. Georgia was playing Georgia Tech. And they did a halftime feature on it, and they used some of our audio from it. It's the only time I've ever heard it. So I told Scott that. I said, I don't know where the tape is, anything that you're going to have to find out because I don't know where it is. I said, I've only heard it that one time. I'll tell you when I really knew it was, oh my God, was I came in to the stadium, and instead of bringing my bag, I'm talking about my clothing bag, my suitcase, and it's not really a suitcase. These are all, athletic bags that we put stuff in. Instead of bringing it up into the booth, because I didn't want to go through the security with the bag at the gate, I put it in the locker room with the idea that game's over, we're going to come down, boom, I'll just go in the locker room, take the bag, get on the bus, and go home. So I had to go to the locker room to get the bag. And then when I got down there, Tom Venerino was on the phone, and Joe was there, and Joe's face was ashen. I thought, oh, my goodness. I knew it was bad, but this is worse than even I thought it was. Knew it was bad, but it was way worse than I thought it was. And I remember Joe had to make a really hard decision. As the leader of the team, do you go back with the team? Do you go to the hospital with Adam? What do you do? And so the decision he made was to go back with the team, then get on the Penn State plane and go right back. So the team landed, go right back to Columbus to be there with Adam and his family. His father, Andre's a great guy. Addie, they're just great people. And then the next week they played Purdue. And I remember that I had to MC the prayer service on the steps of Old Main. The Purdue game was against Drew Brees and Purdue. And then Purdue ended up going to the Rose Bowl that year. They won the Big Ten championship with Drew Brees at quarterback. And Troy Sutherland was a heck of a wide receiver they had. Penn State won the game 22-20. The emotion in the stadium was unbelievable. One of the underrated MVPs of all this was Joe Serra. Joe Serra, every day, and this is not an exaggeration, when I mean every day, was in contact with the Taliaferro family, either by phone or actually physically being there at the hospital with them. All the time. Joe Serra was around all the time. And his recovery from this has been unbelievable. If you notice with Adam, there's that one thumb where it's still not quite right with him. And part of there's a story behind that. Adam, believe me, Adam Taliaferro was a heck of a prospect. Really good. And you're sitting there going, hey, this guy's going to be a good player. They were scrimmaging in Beaver Stadium, and I remember the offense was going left to right in the press box, and they threw a dump off to Eric McCoo at about the 35, 40-yard line. And Taliaferro came up and boom, and cut him down, and when he did, he dislocated his thumb. So that thumb was actually in a cast for the first, 3 weeks of the season. And they'd just taken the cast off, which meant, of course, now he could start rehabbing the thumb. Now, he could play, they could tape it up and whatever, but you just started rehabbing the thumb. Well, obviously, he couldn't rehab the thumb after this happened. But when he ran through the tunnel at the stadium, it was unbelievable. The emotion in the stadium, they're going to play Miami. And I can't believe. And that was 20 years ago. 20 years ago it happened. 19 years ago he ran through the tunnel. After what had happened in September in Columbus, it would be hard to envision that he would have been able to do that. It's been one of the more remarkable things you've ever seen. But, wow. It's been 20 years. 20 years. We have our high school football roundtable coming up the bottom of the hour. Got a lot to talk about today. We're going to get into it. Can't wait. Today's show brought to you by our great friends at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com. Final hour of the show, we'll take your calls to see if you can talk Matt off the Eagles' ledge. We'll come back with more in a moment. I'm getting worried. I'm just concerned. I'm concerned. I knew you were off your game because I gave you a chance to praise the jacket and tie at the beginning of the show. You didn't take it. I had it all set up where you're going to get, like a huge raise, the whole thing. Now, I don't know what to do. All right, we'll come back with more in a moment here on News Radio 1070 WKOK. We're just going to go out and get ourselves a Sunbury Motors vehicle. We're going to drive to Philadelphia. We're going to have Matt talk right to Doug Peterson, face to face.
Actually, if anybody wants to watch the game this weekend around here, they're going to have to do that because there's an Eagles-Steelers conflict. They're both at 1 o'clock on CBS, and the Steelers are going to be shown here in this area this week.
Well, that's what happens when you're 2-0 versus 0-2. No, I'm just kidding. Because, I don't care either way who's on. It's too bad they both can't be on. Wonder why they did that. Wonder why they scheduled a game that would be in that category. The NFL's usually better about stuff like that.
This happened last year, too. The Steelers had a 1 o'clock game. I think it was against Baltimore. And then the Eagles played the Jets. They both had 1 o'clock starts on CBS. Steelers got the nod. Eagle fans had to go elsewhere to try to find the game.
But the Eagles were playing the Jets.
Doesn't matter. I still want to watch my team. And here's the other thing, too, NFL. The Scranton-Wilkes-Barre market, which, of course, covers this area, so WYOU, is technically Philadelphia market, so to speak. So the Eagles should be on there, not the Steelers.
But they were playing the Jets. It wasn't even a real game.
I mean, it's true. The Eagles won handedly, but still.
It was the Jets.
Well, hopefully the same outcome will happen for the Eagles this Sunday.
Well, based on what you're saying, it's bad. It's just bad.
Taking your calls at 800-795-9565. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now, from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Today's show brought to you by Sunbury Motors. 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf. Time now for our high school football roundtable. We're now to week 3 of the high school season. We'll start with Zach Showers and Selinsgrove. So, Zach, tough week. So, what do they need to do to bounce back after a tough week?
Yeah, I think tomorrow night's going to be one of those games where it would be really nice if Selinsgrove could hit some plays early and get some positive momentum. Last week against Central Mountain, Selinsgrove just really couldn't do anything offensively. They were held to just 131 yards. And I think tomorrow night they just really have to get that offense going, and that's easier said than done against a pretty aggressive Shamokin team.
All right, so let's get into that because, look, for years of doing this segment about Selinsgrove's prolific offense, even when it changed a little bit last year, they still could move the ball. How tough is that when suddenly out of nowhere you can't move the ball like that last week?
Yeah, it's very tough, and I think the thing last week that was difficult was it wasn't necessarily one of those weeks where there wasn't anything going. It was also a lot of missed opportunities. The defense and special teams had created 2 opportunities where Selinsgrove had the ball inside the 5-yard line. And, in fact, they had the ball at the 1-yard line at one point, and a penalty and a couple negative plays. And Selinsgrove only walked away with 3 points despite having that. And then later in the game, they were able to take the ball down to the 16-yard line and also came out of that with nothing as well. So, yeah, I think you're going to see a little bit more back to the basics tomorrow night. Shamokin has a pretty aggressive defense, but there's also a fair amount of room in the middle of the field there. They're going to put 8 guys in the box. So I expect Selinsgrove to come out and try to make some plays and get past that first line of defense. And if they're able to do that, there's some big plays. But if not, you can be looking at some negative plays in the backfield.
How many guys does Selinsgrove have playing both ways right now, Zach?
Starting, you're probably looking at 7 or 8, and that's been a big theme right now. Defensively, they have been very, very solid, only giving up 13 points. And I mean, most weeks, if you can give up 13 points in 2 games, you expect to be 2-0. But we've kind of seen that a little bit of fatigue. It seems like a lot of those starters are playing very fast, very quick on defense, and then they're getting to offense, and there's a little bit of a let-up on offense with going full speed. So that's definitely an area that the Seals coaching staff is trying to find creative ways to get some guys off the field and get some of the younger guys some time to play and to give a break.
What's a good matchup with Shamokin? I mean, where can maybe Selinsgrove match up with this team?
I think defensively that they should be fine. This is a team that, like I said, they've only given up 2 scoring drives in the first 2 games. There's opportunities there to make some plays on the defensive side of the ball and hopefully set up some field position, especially up front if they can get those defensive linemen up the field and create some turnovers. That will help. And like I said a little bit earlier, there are some plays that can be made on Shamokin's defense. It's just handling those assignments up front and hopefully being able to get some athletes out in space to make some plays.
Zach, always a pleasure. You do great work. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, so that's on Eagle 107. Now let's transition to News Radio 1070 WKOK, where Shikellamy is in action tomorrow night. And the Chief, Dave Ritchie, joins us. Dave, welcome. It's great to have you back, my friend.
That's good to be here, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so let's start with an Apollo 13 question, where Gene Kranz looks around everybody and says, all right, let's start with this. Tell me what we have in the spacecraft that's good. So tell me on the spacecraft for Schick, what's good?
Well, after Friday night's game, 2 things. Probably we have a pretty good punter, and we also have we didn't have any penalties. So those 2 things were positives. But after that, it was one of those nights where nothing seemed to go well. I remember many times telling Kevin that there were out of the 11 defensive players from Jersey Shore, there'd be 8 of them that were around the ball carrier when they made the tackle. It was quite a display of, I think, one of the best defenses that I've seen in a long time. Shikellamy offense was held to 25 yards, and that's not good. It just seems like they couldn't get anything going. But I know that's kind of tough to say, but our punting and no penalties were probably the 2 things that I could say were positive during that game.
Usually, Dave, I'm not a big believer in it carries from one season to the next because, look, people get older, people graduate, new people come in. It's a different dynamic. But is there a concern that because last season was a really rough one and this is a really rough start, that there's a confidence issue?
It seems that both this season and last season started out the same with not having a lot of good offensive plays, and the defense giving up a lot of points. But if you remember last year, in the middle of the season, Shikellamy went up to Central Mountain, scored over 50 points, and then went on a roll where they won for the next 5 games. And I think that could happen again because I think they ran into two of the best teams that are in their division right away, Central Mountain and Jersey Shore, and Selinsgrove is probably the third best one there. But if they get when Zach said that Selinsgrove could have some positive things happen right away in their game against Shamokin, he hit the nail right on the head with Shikellamy. They need something positive to happen, and I think the kids would be resilient enough to build off of that. Whether it's a sustained drive, whether it's a special team score, or just a good defensive stop to get their confidence back. That's something that I think they need to look forward to. As far as being the same as last year, I'm thinking that there could be some carryover, but I would think that there's enough kids on the team that played last year and saw that it could be successful that I kind of rule that one out as far as that goes.
Okay. Getting a takeaway early would be great too. I mean, it's just you set yourself up to some momentum. Jersey Shore had 2 fumble recoveries and an interception against the Braves that stalled the offense, and Shikellamy had no turnovers. Jersey Shore had no turnovers against Shikellamy. So Jersey Shore played one of the best football games that I've seen, and I know I'm sounding like a broken record when I said Central Mountain was good, but the kids from Jersey Shore, I think it was Broyles from Arkansas, said he liked them lean and mean, and those kids are lean and mean. They really put on a show against the Braves last night. All right, so is there a matchup here somewhere in here that you think gives Shikellamy a good shot?
Well, I think this week against Milton, Milton's in the same position as Shikellamy as last year. Milton, I don't know if they won a game last year. I'm not sure. They might not have, but
right.
But the communities are very similar, and it's always a good matchup for the Braves. And Shamokin, who was beat pretty bad by Jersey Shore, came out and defeated Milton last week, 37-6. So I would think that both teams Milton and Shikellamy are both in the same situation. They're just trying to to get some positive things to happen. And Milton, I think as far as offense and defensive lines, the Braves match up very well against them. And as far as quarterbacks, I think the Braves might have a little bit more of an edge there. Drew's been quarterbacking the Braves for 3 years now. Running backs, they do have a couple of good running backs in Camelo and also in Minion, but the Braves also have some good running backs. I think Milton might have a little bit of an edge as far as passing because they've got Minion's a pretty good deep threat. So, but I do think this will be this is a pivotal week, and I think it could be a turning point for either the Braves or for the Black Panthers, depending on who plays the best on Friday night.
Yep, I think this is a big game because you'd be amazed at how much better you practice when you have something positive. All right.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, I remember
Chief,
from coaching.
Yeah, exactly. Chief, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Steve. You have a good week, all right? Thank you.
You too. Dave Ritchie, and that game will be on WKOK on 100.9 The Valley is where Lewisburg resides. Greg Wetzel now resides with us on the radio. Greg, welcome back, my friend. Congrats on the 2 over par 74.
That would be wonderful if it was true, but not quite true today.
Just roll with me on this. Work with me.
Gotcha.
It makes you feel better. It makes you look good.
I was 2 over in the front 9. How's that?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I didn't maintain that level of play.
There you go. Quick story about that. The other day I shot 39. I was on the white course, so I shot 39. So I texted Jack. ham, and I said, Jack, shot 39, but I think it was the cart. And I took a picture of the cart, and I said it was cart number 59.
There you go. That's right.
And he texted back, Steve, it can only help. All right.
That's right.
Are you surprised at all by the Lewisburg start, Greg?
I am. I thought they had a shot to be 2-0 at this time. Definitely thought they'd be 1-1 at this time, but their offensive line just has not held up well against the defensive fronts of Central Columbia and Mifflinburg, and that's really been the name of the game for them in the first 2 weeks. They haven't been able to generate any offense with arguably one of the best running backs in the area, in Max Moyers.
How many guys are playing two ways, and in particular, how many guys are playing both ways in the interior line?
In the interior line, they shuffle back and forth. So they have 7 guys playing at essentially the 10, the 8 defensive line spots and offensive line. So they're shuffling them in and out. So that I don't think is a huge issue, Steve. Going both ways, they have 6 guys going both ways,
That's not bad.
and that doesn't seem to be a major issue right now. The problem is, and I shouldn't say that, it might be an issue on the line because those kids are big. And, early in the season with the warm weather and stuff, fatigue does play a role later in the game. I mean, Mifflinburg scored their 1 touchdown from 6 yards out on a quarterback sneak. So, that could be fatigue or poor technique, which is a cause of fatigue, so.
Right. Now, look, you got to play the full 4 quarters. But how important would it be for Lewisburg to have something early happen that's really good, and now they get to play the game with the lead?
That would be really important, and they're probably their toughest game. One of their toughest games of the year is coming up this Friday night in Danville, who has maybe the best quarterback in District 4, arguably the best quarterback. He's thrown for over 5,000 yards in his career. He's rushed for close to 1,000 yards in his career. He kicks off, he kicks extra points, and he punts. So that's the kid they're up against this week. And Danville as a team is averaging 52 points a game right now, and they need something positive to happen. Their offense they were running was a triple option. I believe you're going to see the triple option still, but I think you're going to see a lot more shotgun with Max Moyers now being 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage and seeing some area that he can run instead of in that Navy offense triple option where he's 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So I think that's going to help them offensively. It's a question whether you see that this week because of the caliber of competition they're playing.
Does this team have the capability? What would it mean to this team to not only finish the drive, but eat up time on drives as they finish them?
That would be huge. That would be a huge thing, Steve, for this team to go down the field and score a touchdown. Last week they scored two touchdowns, and the total probably amount of time they had the ball in each of those drives was 2 minutes per drive. And so they're not keeping the clock, keeping the ball. They ran 29 plays last week. Mifflinburg had a running back that ran the ball 30 times. So you can see what's going on with their offense. Their defense is on the field an awful lot. And if you look at the statistics, you're going to say, their defense is playing pretty well because, Mifflinburg only rushed for 160 yards last week. And they ran the ball like 45 times. So, it's not that bad of an average when you look at it. But a lot of times they're in a 3rd and 2 situation, 4th and 1, those types of things. So they just need somebody to make a play and get them excited about playing football again and playing with the lead.
Yeah, because that's what, hey, look, he's only averaging this, but 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yep, you're exactly right. Yep.
Greg, always a pleasure. Appreciate you very much.
Steve.
Same here, Greg.
Have fun. Take care, man.
You too. Greg Wetzel. You're here the game on 100.9 The Valley. Selinsgrove on Eagle 107. Lewisburg on 100.9 The Valley. And Shikellamy on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Back with more in a moment on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Fall is here, and just like the leaves, prices are falling on new Kias at Sunbury Motors Kia. Now is the best time to get into Sunbury Motors Kia. While others don't have what you're looking for, SMC comes through. 2020 Kia Sorentos are up to $6,475 off. Save over $4,000 on 2020 Kia Sportages. And drive away in a 2020 Kia Soul for as low as $17,990. When you stop by, all prices are clearly marked with rebates and discounts. See the sticker and know the savings. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Celebrate fall in a new Kia from Sunbury Motors Kia on the Strip in Hummel's Wharf. Savings include all applicable discounts and rebates through KMF, including Sunbury Motors Kia discounts. Warranty is limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
See, I think the suit would look good on big glossy pages, don't you?
I'm not sure if he would even say that.
Oh, no. I mean, because, there are other parts of the magazine.
True.
Just kind of flip through and, as fast as you can. I don't need to see that. Yeah. Well, there's some work to be done in our area, huh? See if the high school football teams can break through this week.
Yeah. Big game for all of our teams this week.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm very much looking forward to the Selinsgrove Schmoken game. I'll be on the TV call for that. I think that's going to be a great game. Very evenly matched teams, as Zach talked about.
Terrific. I'm sure you'll do a great job. And Penn State, as I mentioned earlier, Penn State football made the transition from what they call skill instruction stage now to actual preseason practice stage. So they're getting that in gear now to get ready for the opener at Indiana. And I know I've already been asked. It's interesting when in interviews, I've been asked so many times, for obvious reasons, about broadcasting a game in an empty stadium. And I'll come back and I'll give you the answer about that in a few minutes after the top of the hour, because it's actually a very easy answer. Today's show brought to you by Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury, Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com on News Radio 1070 WKOK.